You're watching QPVN News. I'm Anh Tuấn, and here's the headlines. Buddhism honors harmonious and humanitarian spirit for world peace. ADMM Plus Maritime Security Field Training Exercise wraps up. Vietnam becomes Japan's largest frozen shrimp supplier. This morning in Ba Sao Commune, Kim Bang District, Hanam Province, a closing ceremony for UN Day of Vesak 2019 was held, issuing Hanam Declaration with many important contents. The event saw the participation of Permanent Deputy Prime Minister Trương Hòa Bình, representative of International Organizing Committee for Vesak, along with representatives of the Buddhist Sangha and monks and nuns inside and outside the country. Themed Buddhist Approach to Global Leadership and Shared Responsibilities for Sustainable Societies, UN Day of Vesak 2019 affirms the core value on peace and wisdom in the Buddha's teachings. The event has created a belief in the good value of Buddhism. At the closing ceremony, Most Venerable Thích Đức Thiện, Secretary General of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, reads Hanam Declaration 2019. The declaration emphasizes the approach to dialogue and non-violence in peace building, while encouraging on taking compassion and wisdom to serve as a foundation to avoid and resolve disputes or conflicts. In addition, the declaration suggests governments, civil organizations, businesses, and individuals not discriminate between rich and poor religions and carry out moral lifestyle towards harmony, stability, and sustainable development. The success of the event is also a demonstration of Vietnam's determination towards peace, while affirming the role of Vietnam on implementing the UN's Millennium Goals, and Vietnam is an active member of the international community. Mindful leadership for sustainable peace and Buddhist approach to global education in ethics are heated debate topics at the UN Day of Vesak 2019. Honoring compassion, honesty, goodness, kindness, and harmony are the core ideas of Buddhism. This ideology is consistent with virtues of the Vietnamese people, who love peace and humanitarianism. And with such spirit, Vietnam goes deeper into international integration while luring international arrivals to the country.
Vietnam once experienced wartime, and it is now a country of peace and stability. In addition to Buddhists and delegates worldwide, this event also attracts a large number of tourists. It's so great.
The spirit of harmony of Buddhism provides a guideline for everyone, regardless of nationalities, races, and colors. Through the topics of discussion, Vesak 2019 conveys the message of peace, removing hatredness, live compassionately towards a better future, and prevent all countries and peoples in the world.
Buddhism upholds the harmony and solidarity among people. It's the key to create national unity for the national development, and Buddhism is of great significance in bringing people together.
Happiness of each individual is the happiness of everyone. The UN Day of Vesak 2019 has gathered the spirit of harmony all over the world, and discussions on the second day of this event propose various ideas, yet share a common desire for global peace and development. Moving on to other noticeable military defense news. Yesterday evening, the closing ceremony of the ADMM Plus Maritime Security Field Training Exercise took place at Changi Naval Base, Singapore. The event was chaired by Lieutenant General Melvin Ong, Chief of Defense Force of the Singapore Armed Forces, and participated by representatives from 18 navies, including Vietnam.
Addressing the ceremony, the Chief of Defense Force of Singapore Armed Forces stresses the importance of enhancing mutual understanding, trust, and cooperation among the ADMM Plus members in coping with common challenges of maritime security, contributing to maintaining the peace and stability in the region and the world. Taking place from April the 29th to May the 12th in South Korea and Singapore, the ADMM Plus Maritime Security Field Training Exercise 2019 concludes successfully, achieving the set goals and requirements. Frigate 016 Quang of the Vietnam People's Navy fully participates in and well performs all training contents, contributing positively to the event's success, thus accumulating experience to participate in later multilateral naval exercises and host the defense relations events of the Vietnam People's Navy during the year Vietnam hosts the ASEAN Chair 2020.
From May the 6th to the 12th, Đồng Tháp Provincial Military Command offered free healthcare medical checkups and medicines and gave away more than 1,300 sets of gifts to over 1,300 residents in the two districts of Preat Srach and Kampong Trabek, Prevang Province of Cambodia. This is a practical activity held annually by Đồng Tháp Provincial Military Command, contributing to promoting external relations and supporting poor people in Cambodia to have access to healthcare services. Such good deed has tightened the friendship between armed forces and people of Vietnamese and Cambodian localities. During the two resistant wars against the French colonialist and the US imperialist, many legendary victories were made with the strength and wisdom of the Vietnamese people. The Vietnamese people not only feel proud of the legendary Ho Chi Minh Trail, but also the 5,000-kilometer long petroleum pipeline from the northern border to Saigon Gateway, built by the Vietnam People's Army in 7 years from 1968 to 1975. This longest petroleum pipeline in the world at the time was the key to solve the problem of supplying petroleum for the general offensive in spring 1975, completely liberating the south of Vietnam, reunifying the country. At that time, we used wagons or ourselves to transport weapons and equipment to the front. However, Unit 559's vehicles required a huge amount of fuel. That's why they couldn't guarantee continuous operations.
Under such an urgent situation in 1968, the Central Military Commission gave permission to the General Logistics Department to develop a fuel pipeline system to serve the front. Constructed from 1968 to 1975, overcoming a lot of hardships, officers, soldiers, and people of Vietnam had completed the 5,000-kilometer fuel pipeline, starting from the Vietnam-China border area in the two provinces of Lạng Sơn and Quảng Ninh, going into the central region, then divided into two parts, one crossing Mu Gia Pass in Quảng Bình province and the border areas of Laos and Cambodia to the south of Vietnam. The other crossed Quảng Trị province over the central highlands to Bình Phước province.
When the convoys were hastily heading to Saigon, we made sure that all containers were filled up. From a shortage of fuel in 1972, by 1975, our troops had more than enough fuel to serve the general spring offensive.
Over 7 years of construction and development, the petroleum pipeline system had a total length of over 5,000 kilometers, starting from the Vietnam-China border area and northern seaports of Vietnam to the Saigon region of the country. In extremely difficult and fierce conditions, the Vietnam People's Army miraculously built the longest petroleum pipeline in the world at that time, timely supplying fuel for the task of liberating the South, reunifying the country.
Coming up next, Vietnam becomes Japan's largest frozen shrimp supplier. The US, Vietnam's leading trade partner. Vietnamese shrimp exports to Japan have shown good signs when the comprehensive and progressive agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership came into effect earlier this year. Currently, Vietnam is the largest frozen shrimp supplier to Japan, with the export volume of 1,695 tons in February, worth over $18 million. In the first 2 months of this year, the frozen shrimp exports to the market reached 4,295 tons, equivalent to $47 million. Japan is the only market among the 7 largest importers of Vietnamese shrimps, posting a rise at a growth rate of over 14%. In addition, 2019 also marks the completion of tax reduction roadmap under the Vietnam-Japan Economic Partnership Agreement, bringing great opportunities for Vietnamese businesses to expand their export to Japan, enjoying a 0% tax rate for all seafood products. 25 years since the normalization of bilateral relations, the two-way trade turnover between Vietnam and the US has increased by nearly 120 times, from $450 million in 1994 to over $60 billion in 2018. For many consecutive years, the US has always been the largest importer with high growth rate to Vietnam. This is a significant achievement in the bilateral trade between the two countries.
At present, Vietnam ranks the 16th among top trading partners of the US, and the annual trade growth between the two countries reaches 20%. Statistics shows that many export markets of Vietnam declined in the first 4 months of this year, yet in the US market, Vietnam's growth rate is still high, even more than 28% compared to the same period last year.
We're here because we're invested in Vietnam's success. We want Vietnam to succeed, and we want America's partnership with Vietnam to succeed. And we think our economic and trading relationship is incredibly important, but will be even stronger and even better for both countries if we can more fully integrate.
2018 saw fluctuations in the U.S. international trade policy. Therefore, the Vietnam Ministry of Industry and Trade and relevant ministries and agencies have always followed the situation and actively coordinated with the U.S. to maintain a dialogue on economic and trade policies.
We always pay due attention to the US market in trade promotion activities to promote trade relations between the two countries, while creating conditions to encourage businessmen and enterprises to implement trade promotion activities to boost trade between Vietnam and the US.
With the largest import value in the world, reaching over 2,400 billion USD in 2018, the US continues to be Vietnam's key export market in the coming years. However, there is also a fierce competitive market requiring supporting policies from the government and the efforts of enterprises to build and implement effective business strategies, contributing to tightening more Vietnam-US trade relations in the time to come.
Recently, the story about a fatherless student who won a golden medal at the National Mathematics Contest has made Bình Định people very proud of and admire her. Especially, this needy student has been studying at a school which was established for just 2 years. Born in An Tín mountainous area, the poorest locality in Hoài Ân district, Bình Định province, Nguyễn Phương Thùy is now an 11th grader at Chu Văn An High School for the Gifted. In April, Thùy was one of the 6 students winning golden medal at the 27th National Mathematics Contest. The poor student has also received Levantium Scholarship and been honored as one of the most outstanding female students. But few people know that behind her excellent academic results is the tireless effort of the little girl.
With an aim to help ease my mother's difficulties, I've always promised myself to try harder in study.
Chu Văn An High School for the Gifted has just been put into operation since the 2017-2018 academic year. The school always tries to create the best conditions for excellent students in 4 northern districts of Bình Định province who couldn't afford schooling for the gifted in Quy Nhơn City.
Under the government's Decree number 116 and other policies, marginal students are prioritized to be applying for scholarships. During study, they receive financial support and encouragement so as to achieve the highest academic results.
Local residents in the 4 northern districts of Hoài Nhơn, Hoài Ân, An Lão and Phú Mỹ are still suffering much difficulty in life. Yet, studiousness and strong perseverance of students here has become the pride of local residents. With the initial successes, teachers and students at the school have gradually affirmed the school's prestige as a hub for nurturing talented students, useful citizens for the country in the future. This is the end of the QPVN News today. Remember to watch our news again at qpvn.vn. Thank you for watching and goodbye for now.